Hello. Hello. How you doing? So I ran away during the break and totally scarfed 2 eggs. Got myself some coffee and I had to text my wife for a minute. So I have no idea what you may or may not have come up with, Carmine. But before you ask for anything, no, there are no atlases or any form of mech. Okay? I know you've been waiting to ask me. No. No.
Actually, no, because we have a jack. That's pretty much the exact same thing. I have my robot.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Go ahead.
I've already won.
So go ahead. What were you looking for, if anything?
Probably heavy weapons, let's be honest.
Sure.
It's been too damn long since I've had a heavy weapon in my hands.
What kind of heavy weapon are you thinking about there, sir? And Frank, please, you know SNW really well.
Go with the railgun.
Really quick. So, do you have suggestions?
Railgun. Always the railgun.
Of course.
Railgun does look pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, if you have money, the railgun's like a fucking great weapon.
All right, you sold me on it.
So let's go over what a railgun is. Simply scaled up versions of personal mag rifles. They accelerate large metallic slugs along the weapon's barrel, creating a steady spray of hypervelocity rounds. Ammunition sufficient for 1 round of firing costs 50 credits. I will say that there are a lot of rounds in here that you can just snag up if you wanted to. You're welcome to do so. So, because of the fact that it weighs as much as it does, I mean, the encumbrance is... it's funny. It just gives me an asterisk.
It's supposed to be for vehicle mounting.
Exactly. So the railgun will be inside here. You can definitely grab one. It's not something that you can just like carry around and use, but you can definitely take one. And I would even say you can grab. I would say 1 round of combat. What is it? One of those like every round of combat is an encumbrance of 1. No, that's too much. Right? No, how many rounds do you think this thing actually fires? No, they're small. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking. I would say that every 3 rounds costs 1 encumbrance. One of those sort of things.
That seems reasonable, actually.
Yeah. So
I would grab like 4 rounds worth if possible.
Sure. You can grab 6 rounds worth if you'd like. I'm gonna grab 9 then.
You know what? Sure, let's do it. Fuck it.
So, if you did want something that you could carry around, you could always grab a rocket launcher.
Well, at this point, carrying it around is just carrying it around the ship until we are done with our mission.
He's leaning it by the door so he can grab it on the way out.
I mean, I've got like 6 stowed encumbrance left, so I can bring a bunch of ammo and like carry this thing on my back. Use gunslinger to whip it out and just bang.
Listen, I've been to junkyards before, getting parts for like cars that I was like working on, and it's one of those things where when you take it out and clearly you like leaned it against something, and it's leaning there right by where you're like doing something else. There's no question. Like people don't walk by and go, "Oh, I'm gonna take this," unless they're just like really stupid. This is an understanding. If you lean it nearby me, dibs. We know. All right, so moving on. Ollie had grabbed. So Carmine takes this thing. He's probably got this like shit-eating grin on his face as he's like leaning on the doorway. Like, do you want something? So go ahead, Ike. Listen, you wanted to show something to Carmine, and then
he looks down at the big old gun, like, I have also found something of personal interest. This is a virtual intelligence chassis designed entirely for maintenance. It means I can fix the ship from the outside, as well as many other things.
And there's like nobody inside it right now?
Virtual intelligence are not people, but no.
Okay, so we have a robo nobody. Cool.
We have a shell. But this does still raise questions about where the people are on this ship.
Yeah, there were some like weapon holes in the armory. No blood, but definitely signs of something.
Scott, can I interface with the ship and see if they launched lifeboats?
You're gonna finish making your way to the bridge. I was just rewarding your ridiculous.
Okay, that's going to be my priority when we get to the bridge.
Okay, yep, nope, you're perfectly
I'll
fine.
say that we leave this here for now.
Okay.
And we'll come and get it later.
Yep. So So the you guys, of course, you see that thing. It's still locked behind like the gate or whatever, but you're gonna be able to get to that later on if you wanted to. So you do make your way over to the bridge of the ship, and on the bridge of the ship, you can clearly tell there was some sort of struggle that happened here. Here, you actually do see little bits of blood on like a computer here on the ground over there. You can see where gunshots happened, like there from holes in the hull and whatnot. You can see like there's a bullet that hit one terminal, so it's like. So you can clearly tell there was some sort of exchange that happened here. When you go immediately over to the terminal, so I'm going to allow you to do that. Rick, what do you do?
I try to screw the area as best as possible. I try to like find out anything as to what might have happened here. Obviously, not good stuff, but
Sure, of course. So when you try to check that out, so more or less like if you're just doing like investigative work for me, that's gonna be what perception intelligence would be investigative work to try to like find out like what happened with the scene. So we'll tackle you first. You do walk around the room and looking at like where the combat had happened, the blood stains are on the floor, a quick little test of the DNA of the blood, because of course you have your medical equipment with you. You are in fact a nurse, you know what I mean, of a certain caliber, if not a doctor. I don't think you technically got you're not technically.
I never got a doctorate or anything, but I'm basically a combat medic.
But Carmine will one day go back to school and fulfill his,
I will make Asian dad proud.
So you will you make your you walk around, you try to find these things up, but the thing that kind of like strikes you, no bodies were left behind. There's no corpses there's no living people there's nothing like that. There's shattered glass from like somebody was like wearing a helmet or like a console that got shot and glass on the ground, but there's no bodies or anything like that. But more than that, like looking at the holes that are inside the hull of the walls, whatever, kind of going around, it's really hard to test these things because, a lot of Mass Effect weapons are very, 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 very similar, right? But even beyond that, the actual shards themselves are rather small. So you do like a quick diagnostic, a scan of them, trying to find out what you can, and they all seem to be of Alliance make. And I mean like all of the weapons that hit into the hull. So it almost looks as though, well, I don't know. What do you think? And so over to, do you say anything to Icarus or leave Icarus alone? He's processing.
It's probably nothing like really relevant enough to like immediately share with him. It's like no bodies. Odd. But it's like I don't think he really like it's not gonna make or break my theory so far, so
Okay, awesome.
yeah, I'll just leave it for now.
So you, Icarus, are now doing your scanning of the computer. Do you want to commit processing again? Are you happy with just a typical decryption check? It's not going to be crazy hard, I'll tell you that, because
I mean, I still have the intelligence, I'm fairly sure.
Perfect.
Modifier for the day. So I will just, if it's decryption, I have zero problem with that.
Okay. So yeah, that is a very, very, very good roll. 12 is very high. So as you like jump into the computer and start like breaking down and looking into the things, so we're actually going to be able to pull up video feed of what had happened. So the video feed actually shows that another ship flew up to this one, and it actually came in quickly. It came in faster than the sensors were able to detect it before it was like within long-range combat range. They didn't detect it like across the system. So the other vessel had come in because of how small it was, remained undetected until it was pretty close. But despite the small size of the ship, it actually got to where you guys are pretty quickly, where the ship was pretty quickly. It did use a type of boarding tube, but it's actually a modified version that specifically goes over to the part of the ship where the cargo bay is, and it like rips open the cargo bay, so you can actually see on the camera these like couple of arms come out and grab, and then they just start separating themselves into like, so one arm will go and grab in and then turn into like two arms that just like open up with hydraulics or whatever to rip the door open. The view inside the actual cargo area is, because luckily most of the crew here are Torian, and Torian are always prepared for combat. It's just how they're trained. None of the crew were like sucked out into the vacuum of space without some sort of helmet or something like that on, so they were actually all prepared for something like this. And the cameras don't show whether or not the ones that were sucked out were collected. You can't tell that. I'm sure you guys can look around in space if you care to do so. So you do see that, and then of course people came aboard and ran through the area and attacked. Looking at those people that came through, their outfits and whatnot did seem to be human. Flash forward a little bit. They eventually captured the entire crew. It does seem as though, showing this footage to Carmine, that while some people were certainly injured pretty severely from the combat, they didn't intentionally kill anybody. There were no like headshots, there were no kill shots, no anything like that. So after everything's said and done, you kind of get to the tail end of the footage, and they're going around and they're looting the place to some degree. Though they couldn't open up the armory, they actually were unsuccessful in doing so. When they make their way over to the one person over sitting inside the actual bridge itself, the camera that usually looks down at the captain kind of slumps down into the chair, pulls off the helmet, and is like, So, you see a human guy sitting there, sitting nice and comfortable in the captain's chair. So the Alliance thinks that they can play nicey nice with the Xeno scum, huh? Yeah, we're not going to be okay with that. If you think that you're going to play nicey nice with them, then you're going to have to pay a hefty fee. You want them back so you don't, break out another war, which is what we should be doing, making sure that we put them in their place. You're going to have to owe us 5 million credits. Don't worry, you can reach me here. And then you can see him plugging into the computer, and you can also find, easily findable, a frequency that you can contact that person on. Looking forward to hearing from you. We don't need words, just the money would be fine. And then the feed cuts.
Well, we know what to tell our employer.
That is one way of putting it, yes.
I will record the video onto a little USB.
Carmine would suggest that, any footage of the armory is corrupted footage. Because, robot body.
You suggest that to a cold, unfeeling robot who looks down at you and sighs, and you see him go back through the recording at the little bit where it shows the armory, them running past the armory and it clearly not being damaged, and that bit just gets deleted from the footage.
It's little things like the one reason why I would love to be a part of a really, 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 really big Twitch show is that sometimes things get turned into little cartoons, and that one scene right there.
You could just imagine just the way they're looking.
I just want to see Carmine, more or less the footage ends. Carmine's literally opens up while the not even a word said, copying the file. So the armory footage gets corrupted, right? And it's just makes me happy. I'm sorry. Little things in life. So moving on. You guys make your way to, you guys grab up all this information. You grab up your gun. Do you go in and hack into the hull of the chassis as to where the chassis is and take that thing?
Oh, you said it was in basically a cage, right?
Correct. It's a locked little compartment.
I will commit processing to open the cage.
Oh, so you just
Yeah. Okay. I am very... You can see, because it's opposite the armory, more or less, right? You might not be able to see Icarus. You can hear him. He is the robot equivalent of panting at this point.
He processes excitedly.
He is overworking himself so hard to get this thing out of the cage and pull it along and stuff like that.
So when you actually pull the chassis out, one of the things that you actually notice in the wall immediately behind the chassis are a couple of compartments. There's 5 compartments there. Each one of them, because, labels. 3 of the compartments are actually labels. 2 of them are not. The compartments themselves, we're going to describe what it is in a second, but one of the labels says Vivian, one of the labels says Charlie, and one of the labels says Hector.
I immediately just clock that, and I will open it, and I assume I find data plugs.
So yeah, once you like kind of grab it and pull it out, it's literally like a hard drive that more or less is a VI that is specifically designed to plug into the jack.
What was that? Vivian,
Vivian,
Hector?
Charlie, and Hector. Yep.
So you're saying they were built to jack into the suit?
Ha ha ha.
Yes, they were, Carmine. Why are you looking at me with those facial muscles twitching?
Nothing.
I will sling the jack like shoulder over shoulder, like he's my brother, and start like going out of the ship.
No fireman carry?
No.
That's funny. I half expected you to just plug one in and be like, "Walk with us."
Nah. No, he takes like the like drives and just like opens a part of his chassis, just puts them in, and then just closes it.
Yep. Awesome.
Like a character in a point and click game.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, later. What was in the other two? Were they just blank?
What do you mean the others? Oh,
There were
blank.
two,
My apologies. They were blank ones. Blank drives.
I will take the blank ones.
Sure.
Because that seems like a useful. I assume like basically like blank hard drives.
Yeah.
Probably
blank
formatted
blank
stuff
VI
like that.
cores, exactly.
Yeah.
So, perfect. So you grab that. You guys head back to the vessel where you can finally meet up with Sid again and kind of inform her of what's been going on. Sid, you out here have been looking around and running typical scans. So when they get to the point of mentioning what had happened, you of course did not see any corpses floating around in space, at least as far as your scans popped up. Okay. All right. So you guys head back to the vessel. And so, Sid, when you see them coming back in the vessel, I imagine you're sitting over in the captain's chair, and you look at the camera, and you actually see one of them walking in with the body of a robot, and the other one, over his shoulder, struggling to carry it, but bringing in a rail gun.
Yeah, this seems atypical to Sid the Scavenger.
Yeah, this is actually not
Well, that's normal.
The one person who might have any moral issues is not here. We bought these, Aaron. We bought all these things.
They were just floating in space. How could we not? Sure, there ain't a ship inside a locked armory, but that's just semantics.
So you bring the stuff in. Sid, you see them drag that stuff. What conversation ensues?
I don't think Sid really messages them about them carrying stuff in, so...
No, I meant about the scenario.
I don't think Sid has anything to say. I will say to Carmine when we're in there and like everything's ready and we're like probably pulling back in the tethers, that you should probably forward this information to your friend.
Should I
What's the plan?
pump up the scanners, make sure we're not going to get ambushed too?
There's like Icarus goes like this, and then a click sound effect goes from his speaker, and he goes, some were jettisoned into space. They might still be here. And I will go to the scanner room with my brother, and I'll put it in like a chair that was probably put there by Sid.
Nice.
And because he at least fits in it. And
Do you
then,
mannequin doll prop it up?
No, it's just like it's like in Iron Man 3. He just sort of like puts it in the chair, and then it just sort of is sitting.
Yeah. Yep.
And I will go ahead and give a scan to see if I can find any of those bodies. Actually, don't still have my processing, my intelligence boosted, but I have a +2 from the scanner. So, these rolls might look similar because I definitely have always been modifying everything.
You do not find any bodies in space.
All right. I will actually log that though, and I will add it to so we have like a data pack of the thing with the video and basically the frequency to contact them. I'll add basically the scan of the ship that was looking for life signs and that there are none.
Okay, perfect. So
And I will give that. I will just give that chip to Carmine to do with what he pleases.
there you go.
Throw it out in space. I'm just kidding. We don't need your stinking plot.
So you grab that information, Carmine, and you're going to send it to what's her name?
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Thank you. because I have it over on the other computer.
Stevenson.
Before I compile this message, the guy in the captain's chair, I imagine he had some sort of insignia that I recognize
He
a bit
actually-
too well by now.
He did not have an insignia you recognize. Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What did he look like? Was he just generic human male?
Yeah, so he was a human guy. He happened to be Caucasian, so he was actually very clean cut. He had no like scruff or beard or anything like that going on. His hair was a little bit longer, but not like super styled or anything like that. It just literally came out of a helmet. You know what I mean? But he seemed to be in good health. He didn't have like rotting teeth or anything. So I guess generic human. You know, not overly attractive, not ugly or anything like that. So generic human male. Had a little bit of a personality to him, obviously, but even that was not like impressive. You know what I mean?
Right, so in the message I will include, like, there were people, they boarded the ship, they didn't seem to kill anyone, they were just taking hostages. And they seem to be remarkably anti-Xeno, in line with Cerberus. Of course, these are just my observations. You will find all the logs and the stuff that we encountered included, as well as a frequency where he basically demanded a ransom for the Turians and the other crew.
Okay, so you said that information over and more or less just kind of wait for a response, to which a response will come back probably about 2 hours later or so, because information actually travels obnoxiously fast. It's pretty cool because of the quantum entangling and whatnot that they use at different stations. So the information gets back about 2 hours later, and she responds saying, if it's a ransom, that means they're still alive. Do you think that you might be able to rescue them?
We don't have any idea where they are currently, do we? I don't think so.
All he gave you was a frequency to contact him.
Yeah, I would basically reply going, they expect money to be wired to that frequency. They don't seem open to really talk. I have no idea where they're currently being held. There were no like indications or any like icons or anything to really deduce where they came from. So a rescue mission would be tough, but if we had a solid lead to go on, I would be up for it.
She responds saying, do you have a holo transmitter on the vessel that you're on?
We do, don't we?
Yeah, over in your situation room.
Yeah.
She more or less arranges for like 45 minutes or so from like you informing that for her to be on a call with you and the rest of your crew. So instead of like email back and forth, she can actually be in a conversation.
Yeah, that would work better.
So you inform the others. I imagine Icolas and Sid are both interested in showing up. So when you guys make your way over and to the room in 45 minutes, whatever pass, the call opens up. It does start with, all of a sudden you do see a human woman that's standing there. So the human woman, she is Southeast Asian of descent. She seems to be an attractive woman, but just kind of concerned look on her face. So it's one of those things where the video pops up of her, and immediately she seems a little like distraught for a second, like distracted, like she's taking care of something. The video pops up, and then she actually looks up, and she sees Carmine there, and her face kind of melts away into like a little smile. It's like, oh, Carmine, it's been so long since I've been able to see you. I really do hope that you're doing well.
I'm doing fine, all things considered, dropping from atmosphere onto a planet, and it's been interesting. I get by.
All the parts still moving? Are you well oiled?
Yep, all still working well.
That's good to hear. But of course, to the task at hand, the captives. So you only have their frequency. Maybe we could reach out to them and find out if there's any form of negotiation that can happen. Is this your whole crew?
We also have a Turian, but she took issues with the limited time off that she had. So she will be joining us at a later date.
You didn't give her 17 Palavan cycles?
Yeah, it turns out they get very very antsy about that if they don't. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that doesn't include travel time, of course. I'm sorry, I'm being rude. Hello, my name's Sarah. Okay, these guys just wave.
Yeah, I introduced them to like, hey, this is Icarus, and this is Sid.
So Icarus, Sid. So it's yourself, Sid, and then you have
Constantinia.
Constantinia,
She's
and of course,
part of the hierarchy, but officially on leave.
was she aware of the fact that this was going on?
I let her know that we would be investigating this, but
But not the finer details. Okay, I understand. So I was kind of hoping, because usually with the circles of people that you run around with, I was kind of hoping it was we could stage a rescue mission for them. But unfortunately, your crew seems kind of smaller than I had hoped.
We
And
pack a
My
big
name's
punch.
not Sarah. My name's Rebecca. Sorry, I was Sarah just left the room. I just, it's been busy here. It's been crazy. And
She
of
has a
course,
twin
everybody's
sister
freaking out.
called Sarah.
No, everybody's just been freaking out because of the situation. But so if you don't think that you'd be able to stage a rescue mission, do you? And I'm sorry, you're saying a second, Nicholas?
He said that we pack a big punch.
But big enough to rescue a whole crew of.
Big enough to send a bounty. What are they called? What's it called? A ransom. There we go.
That's kind of what we were hoping not to do, because we're going to have to take that from our research funding. Obviously, we'll do that. Like, it's not like, oh no, the research is more important than them. We can do that. It's just getting funding is difficult. So
The odds of being
hoping for-
betrayed when giving in that ransom are 3. It's just he gives a ridiculously high chance. I'm not gonna full on C3PO it.
Yep, of course. She's like, yeah, no, I understand. Okay. I will speak to those that are in charge here, and see what we can work out. Obviously, we know each other personally, Carmine. I wouldn't really feel comfortable transferring that number of credits to just anybody, But luckily, you and I know each other, so hopefully we can kind of figure things out from there. I'm really looking forward to making this happen. So she's like, I'll speak to you in probably about 2 days' time, maybe less. I will do what I can. Sit
all right,
tight
we'll
and
stay in the area and try to have a look around, see if we can find out anything.
Of course. So she cuts ties with you guys, and what do you do from here?
I immediately step up and say, there were 3 AI cores, VI cores on that ship. We may have a larger crew than first count. I will interface with them, see if they are willing to work on this ship.
Try to persuade them with the idea that they would be helping their crewmates, because they would be. The
That's
people
true.
that they served with on the ship. They're currently in peril. Getting that Jack, you called it, online would probably assist us a fair bit in combat. Maybe we can have a look around on like the planets to see if there's any if anyone knows the guy. Like, we've got his face clear. If anyone knows him, we might be able to find out a lead on him and maybe find out a location. I am not very interested in transferring a high amount of credits to a bunch of insurgents.
I believe that showing his face to the people of the planet is a good idea. Sid, I am going to need your help. And then beep boop walk to the room where Icarus will get out the 5 data cores. 3 of them have like little labels on them, and then 2 that don't. And he'll point to one that doesn't and says, "There is something that looks similar, although not exactly like this, inside my head. Dunk dunk. I need you to take it out and put it in that." And points at Jack.
So basically, I'm putting your brain into that.
You will be handling my brain with your sweaty meat hands for a short amount of time, the slightest flaw will damage me immeasurably. I would like, if I had further time, I would be able to perhaps prepare for some kind of backup, but I am excited and have no time to waste.
Sid just goes like this. The meaty hands are ready.
And then he'll basically just like shut down Icarus, the chassis, and like leave it like where it sleeps, like in its like little box mode, because it's a box.
Right.
And according to this, anyone can help. And considering you have engineering too, I imagine it's not a role. I could do it myself if you had a workshop, but it also just made more sense to have you do it.
Could you do me a favor, Frank? Could you just roll me an engineering check, intelligence, please?
Don't kill me.
Or electronics.
Don't drop me.
Because I don't think we have engineering checks.
My apologies. You know what I meant. Electronics.
Electronics? Intelligence?
Correct. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So you're able to, with great ease, pull out the core, as we had talked about. And like Icarus said, it's not the same as these other ones. It looks very different. But then again, those are definitely of human creation. This one is not, at least not strictly of human creation. Much like the processor that you had seen that Icarus uses. This actually is a combination of a few different types of technology that come together to make it as efficient as it is. It almost looks like it was designed by pieces of scrap put on to like enhance like a basic, probably a weaker core originally. So it's one of those things that, obviously that kind of stands out to you, Sid, because you are a scrapper, so you appreciate the fact that there was a little extra effort put in there to work on it. Anyways, so you grab it. And you plug it into the jack with no issues whatsoever. So all of a sudden, you come online there, Oliver. Hold on 1 second before you speak. That was 273. Nope, wrong computer. 273, I think. Wait, which was the page that actually had the...
Oh, I have it open right now. No, I don't. Never mind. I changed page because I was looking up how to change armatures. I have it all on my... I have all the information for the jack on my count sheet, though.
No, that's fine. I just want to read something really quickly before I do a description. So I just got to look for the name Jack. Oh, let's go up. There we go. So, as soon as you come up online, so immediately as you come online, and of course, obviously, you're not using your processor or anything like that now. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, as soon as you come up online, immediately what you're able to see, looking around the... wow, that's pretty cool. Immediately what you're able to see looking around the room is all of your senses and everything are completely different than how they were picking up before. Like, so before you generally saw stuff in a combination of the normal light spectrum with like cameras, and then there was like layers over of, heat signatures for everything on top of that to kind of like enhance your vision, and you could switch just heat if you wanted to. This time, you're actually seeing things predominantly in like it's like a very opaque or like a weaker view of the normal camera that you can enhance it if you want. You're actually seeing things in electromagnetic signatures. So actually like reading like the computer systems and everything around you, seeing literally the wires and interactions, everything that are happening inside the walls around you, watching the Omni tool on Sid's arm and the various parts that she has on top of her, looking around, you're seeing everything with like a whole new light, whole new world. And as you're looking around and seeing those, you're actually seeing power levels and fluctuations in ways that there seem to be like lacking efficiency, kind of already immediately gathering data to later on be processed and enhanced and so on and so forth. So all of that immediately comes online to you. Your body, as you go to move it, is already moving so much quicker. So even as you just kind of like pick your head up, it takes you a moment because like, and then like you realize, okay, well, slow down for a second. And you realize that just immediately realize that you need to do that. You can move with so much more deftness to your step. The idea of picking up a tool without even doing so, you run simulations in your mind. You're like, oh wow, even just running a screwdriver, you can hold one against a screw and allow your hand to spin a ton with perfect precision, etc., 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 right? So you come up online and you look at Sid, far more humanoid than you ever have before.
There's like a moment where it's an Alliance red, and then it goes to the slightly nicer orange that Icarus uses, and then just there is that belly laugh that Icarus has given off a couple of times, which would be slightly different because it's slightly different speakers. It's like hearing someone using a different microphone, and just hugs her like with his now long actual nearly human acting arms, just a sort of
Oh, hey, buddy. Super strong.
I'm sorry, you're weak and squishy and flimsy. And then he like stands up and like walks and like stretches and like wiggles everything he can. This is brilliant.
Hold on. You say wiggles everything you can. It's literally one of those things where like
God,
your arms come out and literally one of your arms, like the forearm itself, actually opens up and comes out with a large cutting tool that's specifically designed for like, cutting and working as a tool and whatnot. And then as you're kind of like going through it, one of the things that thing actually does is it actually goes in and out comes like a little saw that starts like super fast spinning, clearly designed for like cutting through metal and stuff. You see all these other gadgets and gizmos. You were describing it's actually 6 other little arms. You have to imagine like a lobster, like your arms, like your typical claws. They have these like little other ones that will come out, so as you're like working on a tool, they can like work on other little components.
They're the tilties.
Yeah, exactly. So
and there's one other thing that happens is at one point while stretching, a gun comes out of one of the arms. I imagine it's the actual like meat of the arm, right? Like the hand flips back and it's a rifle.
Oh really? Is there a rifle built?
I have a rifle in this body. It comes with a rifle with infinite ammo.
Yep, there you go. No ammo requirements.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So
for sure.
So that's wonderful. So yeah, describe the rifle because it's not going to look like a typical. It's going to be.
I was trying to figure it out. Yeah, it's probably like a test energy weapon, right? Because it uses no ammo and it's just sort of battery powered.
Do you want to do an energy weapon instead of a mag weapon? Energy weapons do way more damage to shields, but less to armor.
I would be absolutely okay with that actually.
Okay, cool.
That just makes more sense to me that it's like an energy, like it's almost like an evolved taser type thing, Maybe it does fire small shards of metal, but they're like electrically charged and things like that.
So it's funny, the way it comes out is much like if you've ever seen RoboCop before, like literally part of the torso, like, and you literally take out a portion of yourself and you use that, you know what I mean? So it's literally built into your person, So you could always like, it's not like when you pull it out, there's a huge cavity that's going to be sitting there. But it's housed within your actual torso.
Icarus pulls the gun out and aims it at things, and aims it at Sid at least once, and then like back around.
I don't like this.
And then my point comments like, hold on, I get that you're excited, but don't point guns at people.
But my guns could never possibly fire by accident, for I am not a human who is flawed.
It's just a good thing to never do.
I know you're scared about your futile mortality, but it's okay. Because one day you will reach a level of technology where you can download your brain into other meat bodies, and it will be...
Now, Icarus, my point is, if you're trying to point guns at people, they tend to get frightened and they tend to get upset. And...
I know. It's just Sid. It's just Sid. Like, pat Sid's head. Rude. All right. I am ready to go planet side, Captain.
He salutes with both of the left arms.
Tink. Tink, tink, tink.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's again something you would see like a cartoon. Like, tink, tink, tink.
all the
ants or something, Oh, funny. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, depending on how long it does take planet side, I do want to try and do basically what I said. I want to talk to the other VI cores and basically interface with them a little bit.
You have 2 days before you actually are waiting for her response before you go down to the planet. What do you want to do with those?
I want to talk to the other 3 VI cores. I also is this a thing I could do? Because I know there's a rule that I'm not going to go too far into for my class about backups. Could I use these blank cores to do a sort of rudimentary worse version of that?
I mean, yes. It just would take a lot of work to make it happen. And honestly, because sadly, because as we've discussed beforehand, the person that had crafted you before is of what race is that? Quarian descent. Their ability to manipulate these kind of technologies is far greater than the ability of humans. It would actually take multiple of these things.
Yes, but off. Later.
Yeah. So it would take.
Put them
time.
aside for later. Thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But so with interfacing with them, do you intend to try to jury rig them, and you might be able to pull it off now, though it'd probably be better if Sid assisted you. Jury rig them into the box, or do you intend to just try to hard line into them?
I was gonna put one of them into the box. The idea Icarus has, and he will actually explain this to Sid, and Icarus will now sit in the situation room like a person. He'll have his legs crossed, and he'll be acting very human. But very like an alien pretending to be a human. And basically explain his plan is that he's gonna amass a whole bunch of different bodies for different situations. He's building one right now based on the idea that he's often alongside Carmine in combat, and he could basically become a wall. And in his little workshop, there's just it's almost like the box, but just bigger, but it's not properly done yet. And basically like a walking tank mode. And he's planning on basically having the other cores that he can put into the other bodies when we're not using them, so they can work around the ship and do other things, and then maybe uplink one of them to the ship just so we have the ship can do more, than having the Solarian virtual intelligence that we can't really interface with properly.
It's also very old.
Yeah, it's very old, so having a more up-to-date one would be good.
Okay.
And so that's basically more or less the plan, is to figure out which ones would be best for the job, put one of them into the box now, put one of them into the sledge later when we're not using it, and have one of them put in the ship.
Okay.
Depending
assuming
on which
they'll
one
want to cooperate.
I'm assuming they want to cooperate, and that I convince them to cooperate.
Okay, so you and, assuming Sid is willing to assist, you and Sid can make the roll to try to jury rig the box to be able to accept these sort of data files, you know what I mean? So why don't you guys, who would have to lead? I imagine Icarus would want to lead it, though Sid is, I believe, just naturally better at it, isn't she?
Is it in an electronics check?
Yeah.
I'm better at it now, but yeah, you're better at it. But for the box specifically, you would lead, I guess, for the interfacing the VI, that would be more me.
Yeah.
So you want electronics?
Correct. Please and thank you, intelligence, sir.
Intelligence.
All right, so it takes the better part of one of the 2 days that you're waiting for you to finally get the thing to function. Of course, you have Icarus is excitedly there lending an aid to give you the things that you need, find other stuff. When you kind of get stuck at one point, offer alternative options for you. You were able to take these other routes, kind of you're like, yeah, but I need something that's going to conduct better than what this is. And Icarus is like, well, we can use this instead. You're like, I never would have thought of that. But
Icarus has little fucking forges in his body now. He just makes a thing. Oh, we need this exact thing. 3D prints a thing and just gives it.
Those arms, when they're inside the body, they're not dormant. They actually can do stuff
3D
inside.
3D printers. It all makes sense.
So, but again, you can see electromagnetism. So you can find conductors and stuff. Anyways, so you're able to make it work, Frank. And so one of those things can be put in. Is everybody going to be there for this ISO's first encounter? When I was talking to them, was there which one is best for what? You actually didn't get an opportunity to speak to any of them yet.
I would have done that way before we would put any of them in the box.
Okay, so you wanted to.
I wouldn't have even started working on the box before I'd talked to them.
So you did what? I'm sorry, I asked. I didn't hear the response to yes for virtual interface. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was doing that before the box thing.
Gotcha. So you're gonna do the virtual interface. Which one do you want to do first?
I'll just do them in order because I'm a robot. So Vivian.
Okay. So when you do connect with Vivian and the virtual interface, you immediately hear, hello, I am Vivian.
Hello, Vivian. I am Icarus.
There's like a few seconds pause, and you realize it's because Vivian's finishing coming up online for the full interface. And she says, hello, Icarus. How is it that I may be of assistance to you?
Your ship was destroyed. I may be able to put you to further use. On my ship, we have. What are your uses?
If the ship was destroyed, I should send out an immediate signal to the Alliance military to make sure
This has already been handled. You are now, if you wish, part of our ship.
I'm going to require security access codes to allow me to divulge this information.
I'm going to fake it.
Fake it till you make it.
Commit processing?
No,
Oh, no,
I'm just going to...
How much processing do you have left? Because this would have been that same day.
Is it all the same day? I have one left.
Yeah, okay, so what do you commit processing for this one? Unless you want to roll decryption.
I was going to roll for it because
Please,
there's 3 of them. So
Yeah.
You also have a plus to your intelligence still.
no, I don't actually.
Oh, is that ours?
Turns out I read it after the fact, and I keep forgetting that it's because everything's on a different time scale for these rules.
So
Which
is
is
it
kind
like a scene or whatever?
yeah, it's like the biotics. Everything's slightly different, but I still have a +1 to decryption. Plus, I rolled 3 dice right now, so it's not that bad.
So you send the codes over to her. You're just kind of like scanning your own system for things, and kind of like remember what you had found inside the jack and things that you had pulled off of the computer's data files themselves, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you
It's
more or
not
less
fake. It's just lots of different correct parts.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then you just kind of like use an algorithm to break down all the information that you felt as though was pertinent, and you feed her the code, and she says, "Access granted. My name is Vivian. I am here to
Hello, Vivian.
I am here to act as an assistant droid. My primary functions are to support and aid a officer within the Alliance military. I am skilled in both martial and munitions combat. I am capable of flying many forms of vessels, as well as translating many different languages."
Interesting, Vivian. We will find a use for you soon. And then, sort of, can I set up sort of like, probably using my processing, a sort of like virtual space for the virtual intelligences?
They don't really work within virtual space. They require require hardlining.
Yeah, so not really. I'll just sort of come back to it later then.
Yep.
That would be something we could probably do when we actually redo the ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how it would work. The ship's wiring. Sure. So she is translating and flying and shooting. Let me write that down.
Everything.
Next one's gonna be Charlie.
This is actually like doing interviews of who I'm hiring. Oh no.
Except we don't have to pay them, so it's better.
Ha! You think that maintenance is expensive?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Having another a virtual intelligence clunk around in one of my things is going to take monies. Sure, but maybe we can do more of this after a break.
Okay. If you're requesting, I think there's.
I'm just saying it's an hour.
Okay, fine. We'll be back. Toodles.